Hi, everyone. I'm Eric. Thanks for joining me. I imagine a workplace where people start the day focused and connected and finish it fulfilled, proud of what they've accomplished together. This vision drives me. It's what I've spent my career helping organizations and individuals turn into reality. Um, for my first 12 professional years, I developed systems and products that coordinated with one another to make our rail and roadways safer and more efficient. For the last 12, I partner with product leaders, managers, and teams to design coordination systems that make organizations more effective, more adaptive, and more human. My Agile journey started long before that. In 1999, the Cornell University Formula Racing team built and refined an operating system that powered 9 world championships and later influenced some of the most innovative organizations in the world. Imagine this. Your mission is urgent. Your resources are limited, and the community that you serve can't wait. Every day you're balancing funder requirements, volunteer schedules, and unpredictable realities of real life. Does that sound familiar? Of course it does. You're in a nonprofit. So now, in the middle of all that, someone says, you need to be agile. What comes to mind? For many, it's a swirl of jargon, scrum, sprints, stand-ups, backlogs, and honestly, that can feel like one more thing on an already overflowing plate. But here's the truth. Agile isn't about labels. Agile is about outcomes. It's about creating clarity when everything feels urgent, about building collaboration that actually works, not just looks good on paper. It's about learning fast enough to make a difference before the next grant cycle, before the next crisis, before the next opportunity slips by. When done well, your impact increases, and those you rely on will start to notice. Think of frameworks like Scrum as scaffolding around a house. The scaffolding helps you build, but the house is your team and the people you serve. Don't confuse the tools with the goal. In your organization, the house is a resilient learning team delivering real outcomes. If the scaffolding gets in the way, adjust it. Keep the house. Now let's ground ourselves. Effectiveness is doing the right things, and efficiency is doing things right. Impact-driven teams need both. Agile helps us ask, are we doing the right thing? And are we making good progress? And feedback is what helps us steer. And here's the good news. You don't need a new vocabulary or certification to start. You need 5 simple habits, 5 activities that any team in any nonprofit can use to deliver real impact. Across frameworks, 5 high-performing teams do 5 things well. First, they visualize the current situation. Next, they create focus. They establish agile interactions. That's how they're going to collaborate. They measure progress, and they improve continuously. Now, before we dive into a real-world example, I'd love for you to reflect on your own team or organization. What area do you struggle with the most today? If you're with me live, please select your choice in the on-screen poll. If you're watching this as a recording, you can still participate. Write down the activity and reflect on your choice. These aren't abstract theories. They're practical moves you can start Monday morning. And I'm going to show you what they look like in action through a story from a program that might surprise you. A group of kids, a pile of Lego bricks, and a robotic challenge that taught them and me what agility really means. First, or For Inspiration and Recognition in Science and Technology, is a global nonprofit that inspires young people to be science and technology leaders through mentor-based programs. Its mission is to spark curiosity, build skills, and foster innovation. First Lego League is one of the flagship programs for students aged 4 to 16. Teams design, build, and program Lego-based robots to complete themed missions on a challenge mat. Along the way, they learn problem solving, teamwork, and core values like discovery and inclusion. Each season combines STEM learning with real-world problem solving, making a great example of the 5 activities mentioned earlier. I was able to be a coach for 2 teams that won their respective regional tournaments and competed in the FLL World Championships in Detroit, Michigan. Let's look at each of the 5 activities high-performing teams do well from the lens of those teams. So first, visualize the current situation. When we visualize the current situation, we make the invisible invisible. What exists, who it serves, the value at stake, the effort required, and what's blocking us. In first LEGO League, the teams compete in a set of missions that score points. The number of potential missions the students could attempt was overwhelming. Where should they start? How could they possibly get it all done? Sound familiar to your work? Here's what I coached the team to try. They started by laying out all the missions, what they were, how many points each was worth, and how difficult the students thought each would be. This big picture was our map. In your organization, make the visible invisible. Put your programs, deliverables, campaigns, and requests onto a single board or list. Add value and effort estimates because you can't steer what you can't see. Next, to create focus, we decide together what outcome will move our mission the furthest in the next short window. We name clear exit criteria. We pause lower value work. If everything is a priority, then nothing is. Focus converts effort into momentum. Now that the team knew all the missions and could relate the value and difficulty, the team focused on one mission at a time. That constraint created clarity and momentum. Instead of thinking about any other missions, they focused on the one at hand and completed it fully. In your organization, limit work in progress. Choose the one initiative that moves your mission the most and focus on that until you complete it. Then establish agile interactions. So while you're focused or when you get focused, we establish agile interactions where we design how we work together on purpose. Are we going to use a brief daily coordination, short planning, frequent reviews with stakeholders? Those human rhythms, not labels, keep flow, clarity, and learning alive. In first LEGO League, each time we practiced and worked on missions, each student had a role, including one who was actually a facilitator or observer. They guided collaboration and learning. They worked in time boxes and tried to complete the mission before the timer ran out. In your organization, define how you'll interact. Is it going to be a weekly planning huddle, a bi-weekly review with stakeholders? Make sure you assign facilitation to someone who protects the flow in learning. Healthy interactions beat perfect processes. Then measure progress. When we measure progress, we define done in terms of the beneficiary or stakeholder would recognize. Then we check against the evidence frequently. We prefer demonstration over reports. Here's how we tested and counted progress in LEGO League. We tested the robot against the chosen mission. And once the team nailed it, they counted the points they could reliably earn. If they got stuck, it was clear on the board that progress had stalled. If they could solve it themselves, they adapted and made it so. If not, they reached out for guidance and support. So in your organization, define done in observable terms. For a program, maybe it's families matched to services with a certain follow-through rate. For a grant, the report's submitted and accepted. Progress should be visible, shareable, and tied to outcomes. When the team gets stuck, ensure there's a standard way for them to reach out for help. When we improve continuously, we run a tiny experiment every cycle, something specific, testable, and owned. Small, steady improvements compound, and they beat big, sporadic transformations every time. At the end of each practice, the team reflected and chose one improvement to try next time, just one. They used a fist of 5 method at the end of practice. If the practice was amazing, then full hands of 5 fingers went up. If it was just okay, some would hold up a 2 or 3 to share why. If the practice was a mess, then fists with no fingers and a lot of retrospecting. In your organization, end each cycle with a micro retro. Use fists of 5, what helped, what hurt, what's one change we'll try. Small, steady improvements. So 5 moves you can start on Monday. First, make a one-page work map. List all your initiatives, expected impact, and effort, and then measure the progress. Focus on one outcome in the next 1 to 2 weeks. Ensure the team has the ability to focus on it until it's done. Create a 15-minute regular check-in. What changed? What's next? Any blockers? What's our plan for the next 24 hours? Show the work. Share a demo or evidence of outcome with stakeholders at the end of each cycle and measure your progress. And one improvement only. Capture a single change for the next cycle. So Agile isn't about collecting labels. It's about seeing clearly, focusing wisely, collaborating well, and measuring honestly and improving relentlessly. So your mission delivers real outcomes for real people. If you'd like ongoing practical tips for impact-driven agility, click follow on our podcast, Agile Driven Impact. It's made for teams and change makers like you. Thank you.